Hey everybody, Nasty Boy here. Welcome to the first episode of Bring This Game Back, the series where I research and play games that I believe should be brought back. I'll find out why or if the game or series is no longer being made, as well as give my opinion on how it should be brought back. Today we'll be talking about Mario Superstar Baseball. Enough talk, let's get nasty. Mario Superstar Baseball is a 2005 sports video game developed by Namco and published by Nintendo for the GameCube. For those of you that don't know, let me do a brief introduction on these companies. We'll start with Namco. So Namco, or the Pac-Man company. Seriously, for those of you that don't know what Namco was founded 70 years ago on June 1st, 1955 by Masaya Nakamura, who remained president up until 2002. Masaya Nakamura was a Japanese businessman that founded Nakamura Manufacturing Ltd. In Ikigami, Tokyo. He was the son of a shotgun repair business owner. Nakamura proved unable to find work in his chosen profession of shipbuilding in the struggling post-World War II economy, so he established his own company. After his father's business saw success for producing pop cork guns. If you don't know what a pop cork gun is, it's a toy gun that creates a loud pop sound by firing a cork or other projectile using air pressure. When I was a kid, I used to play with cap guns myself. No experience with pop guns though. Beginning with only 300,000 yen, or $12,000 US, Nakamura spent the money on 2 hand-cranked rocking horses that he installed on the roof garden of a Matsuya department store in Yokohama. The horses were loved by children and turned a decent profit for Nakamura, who began expanding his business to cover other smaller locations. A 1959 business reorganization renamed the company Nakamura Shisakusho Company, and from my understanding, Shisakusho is the Japanese word for manufacturing. I know I'm probably butchering the pronunciation of it, and for that I apologize. But you can see early on, if you look at that name, where the inspiration for shortened Namco came from, as it's almost just a shortened version of that name from 1959. NA from the Namco for Nakamura, M in manufacturing. So NA from Nakamura, M for manufacturing, and then Co for company, Namco. Although officially, they wouldn't use that name until 13 years later, in 1972. The Mitsukoshi department store chain noticed his success in 1963 and approached him with the idea of constructing a rooftop amusement space for its store in Nihonbashi, Tokyo. It consisted of horse rides, a picture viewing machine, and a goldfish scooping pond, with the centerpiece being a moving train named Roadaway Race. The space was a hit and led to Mitsukoshi requesting rooftop amusement parks for all of its stores, and they became one of Japan's leading amusement companies. And in February 1966, they opened a production plant, moving its corporate office to a 4-story building in Ota, Tokyo. The company secured a deal with Walt Disney Productions to produce children's rides in the likeness of its characters. In addition to those using popular anime characters like Kyutaro, this move allowed the business to further expand its operations and become a driving force in the Japanese coin-op market. Though the manufacturing facility was largely reserved for its Disney and anime rides, Nakamura also used it to construct larger, more elaborate electromechanical games. The first of these was Torpedo Launcher in 1965, a submarine warfare shooting gallery later titled Periscope. Its other products included Ultraman-themed gun games and pinball-like games branded with Osomatsu-kun characters. The name Namco was introduced in 1971, not as the company name, but as a brand for several of its machines. The company grew to having 10 employees, which included Nakamura himself. It saw continued success with its arcade games, which had become commonplace in bowling alleys and grocery stores. The company also established a robotics division to produce robots for entertainment centers and festivals, such as those that distributed pamphlets, ribbon-making machines, and a robot named Putin? Not gonna say that. A robot named Putan. Putin or Putin? Putan? That solved pre-built mazes. In August 1973, American game company Atari began establishing a series of divisions in Asia, one of which was named Atari Japan. Its president, Kenichi Takumi, approached Nakamura in early 1974 to have his business become the distributor of Atari games across Japan. Nakamura, already planning global expansion following his company's success, agreed to the deal. In part due to employee theft, Atari Japan was a financial disaster that nearly collapsed in its first few years of operation.
I declare bankruptcy!
But that's a story for another day. Atari co-founder Nolan Bushnell, whose company was already struggling in America, chose to sell the Japanese division. His fixer, Ron Gordon, was given the unenviable task of finding the buyer for Atari Japan. After being turned down by Sega and Taito, Gordon's offer was accepted by Nakamura for 296 million yen, or 1.18 million US. Though Nakamura informed Bushnell his company was unable to pay the money up front by the deadline, with no other takers for Atari Japan, Bushnell ultimately had no choice and allowed Nakamura to only pay $550,000 up front and then $250,000 a year for 3 years. The acquisition allowed Nakamura Shisakusho to distribute Atari games across Japan, and would make it one of the country's largest arcade game companies. The Atari Japan purchase was not an immediate success though, in part due to the metal game fad of the 1970s. While Nakamura Shisakusho saw some success with its imports such as Key Games, Tank, the Japanese video game industry's decrease in popularity did not make them as profitable as hoped. The market became more viable once restrictions on metal games were imposed by the Japanese government in 1976, as Nakamura Shisakusho began returning higher profits. Its imports of Atari's breakout was so successful that it led to rampant piracy in the industry.
Really, you guys? What kind of pirates are you?
By the end of the year, Nakamura Shisakusho was one of Japan's leading video game companies, and they decided to change their name, officially becoming Namco. In June 1977, it opened a division in Hong Kong named Namco Enterprises Asia, which maintained video arcades and amusement centers. As Namco's presence in Japan was steadily rising, Nakajima suggested to Nakamura that he open a division in the United States to increase worldwide brand awareness. Nakamura agreed to the proposal, and on September 1st, 1978, established Namco America in Sunnyvale, California. Namco America would release a few non-video arcade games itself, such as Shoot Away in 1977. Namco also released GB, its first original game, in October 1978. Designed by new hire Tori Iwatani, it is a video pinball game that incorporates elements from Breakout and similar Block Breaker clones. Though GB fell short of the company's sales expectations and was unable to compete with games such as Space Invaders, comparing a game's sales to Space Invaders in hindsight seems cruel, knowing what we do now with how well the series is done. What games at the time were actually capable of competing with it? I doubt any. It allowed Namco to gain a stronger foothold in the video game market. In 1979, Namco published its first major hit, Galaxian, one of the first video games to incorporate RGB color graphics, score bonuses, and a tiled map hardware model. This is actually the prequel to Galaga. Galaxian is considered historically important for these innovations, and for its mechanics building off those in Space Invaders. It was released in North America by Midway Manufacturing, the video game division of Bally, where it became one of its best-selling games and formed a relationship between Midway and Namco. By the end of the decade, the space shooter genre was played out, so Namco was looking in another direction. looking for a new game and a new style to attract new customers and new sales. Toru Iwatani began working on a maze video game that was targeted primarily towards women, with simplistic gameplay and recognizable characters. Alongside a small team, he created a game named Puckman. The players controlled a character that had to eat dots in an enclosed maze while avoiding 4 ghosts that pursued them. In North America, it was released as Pac-Man in November 1980. Pac-Man's simplicity and abstract characters made it a fixture in popular culture, spawning a multi-million selling media franchise. Namco operated video arcades and amusement parks globally, and produced video games, films, toys, and arcade cabinets. They killed it in the coin-op and arcade industry, being one of the most influential companies in the entire industry. They produced multi-million selling game franchises, such as Pac-Man, which is an all-time classic, Galaxian, another classic and the prequel to Galaga, Tekken, the fighting game series that is still going strong to this day, and then they have the Tails series, the classic Ridge Racer and Ace Combat series. They also created one of my favorite games, Dig Dug. Here's the fall of Namco. So Namco began experiencing decline in its consumer software sales by 1998 as a result of the Japanese recession, which affected the demand for video games as consumers had less time to play them. The company's arcade division had similar struggles, having slumped by 21% at the end of its fiscal year ending March 1998. Namco Cybertainment filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection on January 29, 1998, citing reduced mall traffic. In its 1998 annual report, Namco reported a 26.3% drop in net sales, which it partially blamed on low consumer spending. A further 55% drop was reported in November 1999, when its home console game output decreased. Namco's financial losses worsened in the 2000s. In October 2000, the Japanese newspaper Nihon Keizai Shimbun reported that the company projected a loss of 2.1 billion yen, 19.3 million US, for the fiscal year ending March 2001. Namco had previously hinted at this during an event with industry analysts, blaming its struggles on the depressed Japanese economy and dwindling arcade game market. The company closed its Wonder Eggs Park on December 31st, 2000, which by that point saw an attendance number of 6 million visitors, in addition to shuttering many of its video arcades that returned substandard profits. In February 2001, Namco updated its projections and reported it now expected a 6.5 billion yen net loss, or 56.3 million US, and a drop in revenue by 95% for the fiscal year ending March 2001. And on top of that, 250 of its employees were laid off in what is described as early retirement. With all that coming to fruition, Nakamura resigned as company president later in the year of 2002, being replaced by Kyushiro Takagi. Anxious about the company's continuing financial struggles, Nakamura suggested that Namco begin looking into the possibility of merging with another company. It took Namco a few years to find a partner to merge with. After much negotiation and many attempts with various companies, like proposing to separate companies at the time, Square and Enix in 2002, to merge all three together into one. But Square president Yoichi Wada declined the offer, not being a big fan of Namco's current financial situation at the time, but they did agree to a business alliance. Then in 2003, Namco tried to merge with Sega, but negotiations ultimately broke down, and Sega ended up merging with pachinko machine manufacturer Sammy to become what we know as today as Sega Sammy Holdings. In early 2005, Namco began talks with, and they found their dance partner in Bandai. Bandai being a toy and anime company at the time, holding the rights to a wide library of profitable characters and franchises, such as Sailor Moon and Tamagotchi. The two companies talked about a year prior about a possible business alliance after Namco worked with a Bandai subsidiary, Banpresto, to create an arcade game based on Mobile Suit Gundam. Apparently Namco's content development advisors did not like the idea of merging with Bandai at all. They felt Bandai's corporate model would not blend well with Namco's more agricultural work environment.
The guys at
Bandai.
think I'm just some dumb hick.
As well as being critical of Bandai for focusing on promotion and marketing over quality. As Namco was doing worse and worse financially, Nakamura accepted Bandai's offer, with both companies stating financial difficulties being the main reason for the merger. The business takeover, where Bandai acquired Namco for 175 billion yen, or 1.7 billion US, was finalized on September 29th. An entertainment conglomerate named Namco Bandai Holdings was established the same day, and the combined revenues of the new company were estimated to be 458 billion yen, $4.3 billion US, making Bandai Namco the third largest Japanese game company after Nintendo and Sega Sammy Holdings. Having published over 300 since 1978, and now Namco has merged with Bandai, and since then they have continued to make games together as Bandai Namco, the company that we know them as today. Alright, for those of you that don't know what Nintendo is, let me give you some history and a brief introduction. Wait, how do you not know what Nintendo is? It's the Mario Company, the behemoth of a gaming company that brought us Mario, Pokemon, Zelda, and everyone's favorite ball of pink, Kirby. And also many more games and characters that we all love. But seriously, let's talk about how Nintendo began. It began when craftsman Fusajiro Yamauchi founded the company to produce handmade Hanafuda playing cards. Hanafuda, which I believe is a Japanese word roughly translated to flower cards, are a type of Japanese playing cards. They're typically smaller than Western playing cards, only 5.4 by 3.2 centimeters, or 2.1 by 1.3 inches. They're smaller, but they're thicker and stiffer. On the face of the card is a depiction of plants, animals, birds, or man-made objects. One single card depicts a human. The backside is usually plain, without a pattern or design of any kind, and is traditionally colored either red or black. Hanafuda are used to play a variety of games, including Koi Koi and Hachi Hachi. After venturing into various lines of business and becoming a public company, Nintendo began producing toys in the 1960s and later video games. Nintendo developed its first arcade games in the 1970s and distributed its first system, the Color TV game, in 1977. The company became internationally dominant in the 1980s after the arcade release of Donkey Kong in 1981 and the Nintendo Entertainment System, which launched outside of Japan alongside Super Mario Bros. In 1985. Nintendo released their first game both published and developed by Nintendo in 1978, called Computer Othello, released exclusively in Japan, which was a computerized version of the board game Othello. Nintendo would release their first video game system in 1977, called the Color TV game. They released a series of 5 different consoles between 1977 to 1983 in Japan only. Let's get back into the history. Nintendo was founded as Nintendo Koppai on the 23rd of September 1889 by craftsman Fusajiro Yamauchi in Shimogoyoku, Kyoto, Japan. Hope I pronounced that right. If not, I apologize. As an unincorporated establishment to produce and distribute Japanese playing cards, or karuta. The name Nintendo is commonly assumed to mean leave luck to heaven, but the assumption lacks historical validation. It has also been suggested to mean the Temple of Free Hanafuda, but even descendants of Yamauchi do not know the true intended meaning. Hanafuda cards have become popular after Japan banned most forms of gambling in 1882, though tolerated Hanafuda. Sales of Hanafuda cards were popular with the Yakuza-run gaming parlors in Kyoto. Other card manufacturers had opted to leave the market, not wanting to be associated with its criminality, but Yamauchi persisted despite such fears to become the primary producer of Hanafuda within a few years. According to Nintendo, the business's first Western-style card deck was put on the market in 1902, although other documents indicate the date was 1907, shortly after the Russo-Japanese War. Although the cards were initially intended to be exported, they quickly gained popularity within and without Japan. During this time, the business stylized itself as Marufuku Nintendo Card Company, so they had their name. In 1979, Nintendo opened its American subsidiary in New York City. In 1980, the Game & Watch was created by Yokoi from technology used in portable calculators. It became one of Nintendo's most successful products, with over 43.4 million units sold worldwide during its production period, for which 59 games were made. Nintendo entered the arcade video game market with Sheriff and Radar Scope, released in Japan in 1979 and 1980 respectively. Sheriff, also known as Bandito in some regions, marked the first original video game made by Nintendo, and was published by Sega and developed by Genyo Takeda and Shigeru Miyamoto. Its success was such that in 1984, it surpassed the market share held by Sega's SG-1000. The success also led to Nintendo leaving the Japanese arcade market in late 1985. The result is the Nintendo Entertainment System, or NES, which was released in North America in 1985. And Nintendo has mostly dominated ever since, from the Game Boy to the Switch 2, with a few hiccups like the Wii U or the Virtual Boy along the way. They're a giant in the video game industry, and they're not going anywhere anytime soon. Let me do a quick introduction and history on the GameCube. It launched in September and November of 2001, depending on where in the world you were. And it was Nintendo's fourth home console. It had the unenvious job of following up the N64, and competing with the PlayStation 2 and Xbox that released in 2000 and 2001, respectively. The GameCube sold 21.74 million units worldwide, making it Nintendo's 10th best-selling console to date. The GameCube itself was followed up by the Wii. And myself, being born in 1998, I had a GameCube as a young lad and was crazy about it. I think the games they released on the GameCube for its time were absolute quality as well. I won't get into the list of them now, but someday soon I'll have to rank them in a video. With those brief intros out of the way, let's talk about the game. So Mario Superstar Baseball is a sports video game developed by Namco and published by Nintendo for the GameCube, as previously stated. It was released first in Japan on July 21st, 2005, then on August 29th in North America, and November 3rd in Australia, and finally November 11th in Europe. All in the year of 2005. The game was seemingly a part of Nintendo's effort to expand the Mario sports game series to a new sport, offering a unique take on baseball with the familiar and popular characters and environments of the Mushroom Kingdom. I'm sure that had something to do with the fact of baseball's popularity in America and Japan, just two of Nintendo's biggest markets, I'd have to imagine. And baseball being a very popular sport among both, that it made a lot of sense for them to make baseball as one of their next Mario sports franchises. I assume after the success of their previous Mario sports games on the N64, that Nintendo decided to go all in on the Mario sports games on the GameCube, and I personally loved this decision. Being someone who loved video games and sports, I loved every single Mario sports game on the GameCube. Mario Power Tennis came out in 2004, just a year prior to this game, to good reviews. It currently sits at 80% on Metacritic, and having sold just over 1 million copies sold. And to a lesser extent, Mario Golf also was a success. Mario Golf Toadstool Tour came out in 2003, a year prior to Mario Power Tennis, and 2 years prior to Mario Superstar Baseball. It came out to good reviews, and it currently sits at 81 on Metacritic, and it sold 1,270,000 copies, from what I can find online, which is actually less than Mario Golf 64, which could be more of an indication of the GameCube failing to sell more than the game itself, as I believe the N64 did better. But I'm just trying to point out that these sports games on the GameCube were a success. They're selling over 1 million copies each game, and it makes sense for them to want to put out another sports game, a new one. Yeah, so both these games sold over 1 million copies, which I would have to imagine would be seen as a good thing for Nintendo. Namco began development of Mario Superstar Baseball in late 2004, around November, from what I could find. But considering the game came out in the middle of 2005, that is quite the impressive turnaround. I would have loved to have seen what Namco could have done with this game, given a bit more time to cook, considering what they were able to do with the small amount of time they were given. There doesn't seem to be much information on the development of this game on the internet, unfortunately, at least from my research. It might be a bit easier reading through Japanese websites and news articles from back then, but I was unable to find much. As with most Mario sports titles, it has the traditional rules of sports, but with special Mario-themed quirks and mechanics to differentiate itself from the real sport, to make it a bit more fun, more arcadey, and a lot more characterized, give it a lot more personality than it's just some boring arcade, bare bones arcade baseball game would be. This includes characters using star skill abilities to cause the ball behavior to behave differently. Team Captain's star skill abilities are unique, and they cause a wide variety of special effects, like a fireball, or like a phony ball, or the banana ball. Characters also have field abilities to differentiate themselves from other teammates. Chemistry is a feature unique to the Mario baseball games. And people play better with people they like, and they have bad chemistry with people they don't like. First things first when it comes to talking about the presentation of this game, and that would have to be the cinematic intro. It's the first thing you see as soon as you load into the game, and it sets the tone for everything you should expect to see and experience while playing it. So here is the intro scene. I'll let it play through so you can all experience it. If that cinematic doesn't make you want to play the game, then I don't think anything will. That is a 10 out of 10 intro, if you ask me. Great showcase of the game. It's no clearer than when you first load up the game and watch the opening cinematic cutscene that this game is oozing with personality and character. Alright, let's discuss the look of the characters. Nice, the models and the characters, they all look solid, all very recognizable. I like their little sporting outfits that they gave them, it's a nice thematic touch. I like the unique things they gave for some characters to add some personality, like DK's boxing glove, or Diddy and Dixie using a stick, Toadsworth using his cane, Yoshi using his tongue to catch balls instead of using his glove. All of this are really quality touches in my opinion. They add personality, they add character. The star specials all look really nice as well, and the characters pull them off, giving you a very satisfied feeling when you do. They look clean and exciting, the graphical flourishes they've used on the animations. Having, green fire go around you, and pop up when you're about to hit it with Luigi, or red fire for Mario. The unique animations and reactions every character has all add a great unique touch to them as well. Makes them feel more alive and real, like real people. Even though they're characters, just how they would react, real reactions to it. Being how they all react to a negative play, like getting struck out, or celebrating a positive play. They all seem to have unique animations that represent their personality well. I really like the Koopa one where he strikes out and he spins into his shell. I think that one's awesome. It does a great job of setting the characters apart from each other, giving them all a little bit of personality to show off. Even characters that seem very similar. Alright, let's talk about the fields. So Mario Stadium, it's got the classic Mario look to it, very simple and clean, very sleek. It's the basic starting field as it should be, and it looks like that. And it feels like that. You know what you're going to get when you pick this field. A good, clean baseball game. It has elements of Super Mario Sunshine all over it. That being the most recent mainline Mario game to release around the time, it makes sense that they would draw the most inspiration from it. Mario's team even consists of Mario Sunshine characters, which is awesome. It's a beachfront stadium, very sunny, and it looks really nice. Mario Stadium looks the most like a real-life pro ballpark, which I think is what they're going for. And then we have Peach Gardens, which is a beautiful field. I love all the fields so much. Peach Gardens is an elegant and sophisticated field, representing a princess and royalty well. The well-kept hedges that resemble a maze and the nice brick diamond all show class. And then you can even see the castle in the background standing up. We're going to get more into these as well when I talk about the gameplay and how the fields affect that. But for now, we're just going to talk about the visuals of the fields and how much I like the look of them, or I don't. Alright, let's go to Wario's Palace. So Wario's Palace is a desert-themed stadium with a palace over the outfield wall, highlighted by a massive golden statue of Wario's face. Now, I think the stadium's awesome. It's a great fit for Wario. I think it's cool that he's in a desert, being as that theme seems to be related to his older games. Where he's a treasure hunter in Wario World. So I think it does a good job of referencing Wario World and his history as a treasure hunter. Really showing off Wario's bit of personality there. I like that, yeah. Alright, then Yoshi's Park. This field has artwork in the style of the N64 game Yoshi's Story. There's even a big graphic of Yoshi's face in the center field grass. I love the backdrop of it. They have the classic themed Yoshi's Story stuff where it's all cardboard. So they have like the cardboard house in the background and the cardboard windmill, and it just looks awesome. I think Yoshi's Field is awesome. It does a good job representing him, taking from his main games and what is known about him. And did a good job making it look and feel like an island. Giving it that island feel, a tropical feel that we'll get into more when we talk about the soundtrack. Alright, now let's talk about Donkey Kong's Jungle. So the stadium is set in a jungle clearing, overlooked by a mountain and a critter palace around the infield. There's a river running from center left field to shallow right field, which I think is really cool. I think the river running through it is a really cool feature. I think they did a good job of making it look and feel like Donkey Kong's Jungle. And Wario's Palace has tornadoes and chain chomps, which fits his whole vibe. So he wouldn't care about that. Having chain chomps around would probably be a positive for him. Help keep people away from his treasure, help protect his stuff. It's on each side. There's a large stone statue of Bowser overlooking center field. There are lava pits around the field, the ones in fair territory covered with fences. The ones in foul territory are uncovered. Yeah, so you can fall into the uncovered ones, obviously. There can be a bit more of gimmicks and whatnot in Bowser's, but we'll talk about that more in gameplay. I think they did a good job with the feel and the look of Bowser's Castle. For a baseball stadium, that is. It still looks and feels like Bowser's Castle. But you can play baseball in it. That's one of the best things I think about the fields, is that they're not a baseball field first. They almost just seem like they're the character's home first, and then they take that and turn it into a baseball field. They don't care about the size or the shape. They want to make it look like it's their actual area. It's like Peach's garden is her garden in her castle. I don't know. I think they did an awesome job with that, in my opinion. And then Yoshi's Park has piranha plants. It's cool, they stay small and then they grow up big when there's a ball or a person near them. Which I think really fits well thematically for Yoshi's Island. There'd be a lot of piranha plants out there in a wild island. Then Donkey Kong's Jungle has the clap traps and the barrels, which is cool. I love the barrels that just roll through. I think that's a lot of fun. And I think all of these gimmicks and hazards do a great job of setting the thematic tone for all the stadiums. Bowser's Castle has lava pits, fireballs, and thwomps, which fit perfectly because those are all the things you find in Bowser's Castles in any Mario game. Now let's get into the soundtrack. I think the soundtrack in this game is great. Nintendo rarely miss with their soundtracks in general, especially when it comes to Mario games. They know how to craft the perfect music for the exact vibes they're wanting to induce. The whole soundtrack is fun and upbeat, high energy, very perfect for a sports game in my opinion, as it does a good job to set the tone for fun and friendly competition. As soon as the introduction music plays, the vibe is felt. On top of that, the main menu music is upbeat in itself, keeping you ready to run on the diamond as soon as you start your next game. Mario Stadium theme song is a bit generic and predictable in my opinion, but that fits Mario perfectly, and is a perfect choice for the basic stadium. Now the Peach Garden theme is literally the overworld theme song from the original Super Mario Bros. I think just remade a bit and, updated. But it's definitely, at the very least, an homage to it, and I love it. It hits just like a wave of nostalgia for me every time I hear it. Now DK's park music is great as well, a perfect fit for DK with its jungle-heavy beats, reminiscent of one of my favorite, most underrated games, Donkey Kong Jungle Beats for the GameCube. And then Yoshi comes in with a nice positive island vibe theme for his park that makes you feel like you're on a tropical vacation, which is perfect for Yoshi's Island. And then Bowser's Stadium theme comes in with the menacing and anxiety-inducing overtones and fast pace, putting the pressure on you, making you uncomfortable just as Bowser's music should. The menus are fine, serviceable, nothing special. No real graphical flair that is unique or really says Mario Baseball at all. Could have used a bit more personality and character, but the UI doesn't need to look cool, it just has to be functional, and this one is. Does a good job in its function, and that's all you can really ask for. It's not like I'm not going to get excited for a menu anyway, so even if it was nice, it's just a bonus point, but it's not a make or break for any game. It gives you all the options you need. Just a little bare bones when comparing it to the rest of the game that is oozing with personality and character. The menu provides you with a vertical list of options, starting with the game modes, exhibition game, challenge mode, toy field, mini games, and then they give you a practice mode, which is a good touch, as well as a records section where the game keeps track of your stats for each game mode. Specifically, the exhibition game records The exhibition game records show past MVPs, while the challenge mode show trophies. While the challenge mode records show trophies won for each difficulty you've completed the challenge mode on, as well as characters you fully leveled up to Superstar by completing their personal goals. The toy field records show the top 5 characters with the most coins earned, and the minigame records show the top 5 scores for each of the 6 minigames. It also shows the Grand Prix medals won for each character. And then at the bottom of the menu is the options. The bottom of the menu are options. Of course, with all the options and settings we come to expect in a game. So one of the last things I want to talk about when it comes to the presentation and the visuals is going to be the challenge mode overworld map. Now I think the overworld map for challenge mode is perfect. It's very reminiscent of the classic Super Mario Bros. Style of overworld map mixed with a more modern style for the time. Mixed with a more modern for the time Mario Party board look to it. I think they did a really good job giving this map personality and helped build up the world by showing how connected all these biomes and stadiums are to each other. But yeah, I think it's the map, the overworld map is really, they took from Super Mario Bros. Original map styles and kind of mixed it with Mario Party and made it look a bit more modern. Alright, let's talk about the playable characters that we have in this game. So of course you got Mario, his brother Luigi, Princess Peach, Princess Daisy, you get Yoshi, you get Donkey Kong, Wario, Waluigi, you get Toad, you get Red Toad, Green Toad, Blue Toad, Yellow Toad, and Purple Toad. Then you get Toadette, and you get Toadsworth. You also get Birdo, you get Diddy Kong, you get Bowser, you get Bowser Jr., you get Dixie Kong, you get all the different Piantas, blue, red, yellow, you get all the different Nokis, blue, red, and green, you get Petey Piranha, you have Baby Mario and Baby Luigi, we get blue, green, red, and yellow variants of the Magic Koopa, you get Dry Bones, and you get the red, green, and blue variants of Dry Bones. You get Boo, King Boo, Monty Mole, Hammer, Fire, and Boomerang Bros. You get a green and red Koopa Troopa. You get a green and red variant Koopa Paratroopa. Then you get red, green, black, blue, and yellow Shy Guys, a Goomba, and a Paragoomba to wrap up all the characters. Which in my opinion is a pretty awesome list. A lot more in depth than I ever expected when I originally got the game. Alright, let's talk about some of the story, the lore, and world building. So the main storyline, and really the only narrative story that we have for this game, is what is provided by the cinematic intro for the game, and Lacatu explaining a bit to you in the start of the challenge mode. So all we really know is that Mario and company are all playing baseball, as we are shown in the opening cinematic. They are all having a good time playing sports together like they normally do, when we see Bowser watching from the stands. He challenges Mario to a baseball game. As we see in the opening cutscene of the challenge mode, Bowser gives Mario and friends an invitation letter to a baseball game. So Mario has to take on and beat all of his friends' teams and recruit them to join his team before he can challenge Bowser's team. Simple enough. I don't need any more story than that in a Mario sports game. One of the really cool things to me is the different team names that we have in here. So I'm going to go through the different team names. For Mario, you have Mario Heroes, Mario Fireballs, Mario Sunshines, obviously a reference to Super Mario Sunshine, Mario All-Stars, reference to Super Mario All-Stars. So yeah, those are awesome team names. Luigi, we got the Luigi Gentleman, the Luigi Vacuums, obviously a reference to Luigi's Mansion, Luigi's Mansioneers, same thing it's referencing there, Luigi Leapers, reference to the fact that Luigi is known for his high jumping qualities. And Peach, we got the Peach Roses, Peach Dynasties, Peach Monarchs, and Peach Princess. And then Daisy, we have the Daisy Lilies, the Daisy Cupids, Daisy Queen Bees, and Daisy Petals. Which are cool names. Yoshi, you got the Yoshi Eggs, reference to the actual Yoshi Eggs. Yoshi Speed Stars, obviously how fast he is. Yoshi Islanders, reference to Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island. And Yoshi's Flutters, reference to his classic flutter jump. And then Birdo, we have Birdo's Beauties, Birdo Models, Birdo Bows, and Birdo Fans. Wario, we have Wario Garlics, reference to him loving garlic. Wario Steak Heads, Wario Greats, and Wario Beasts. For Waluigi, we have Waluigi Smart Alex, Waluigi Mystics, Waluigi Flankers, and Waluigi Mashers. For Donkey Kong, we have Donkey Kong Explorers, DK Wild Ones, DK Kongs, and DK Animals. For Diddy Kong, we have Diddy Survivors. It's got a bad sound to it now. Diddy Ninjas, Diddy Tails, and Diddy Redcaps. Bowser, we got Bowser Flames, obviously him breathing fire, Bowser's Blue Shells, Bowser Monsters, and Bowser Black Stars. And then Bowser Jr.'s got the Junior Fangs, Junior Bombers, Junior Pixies, and Junior Rookies. Just to talk a little bit more about the world building here, I think the fields do a really awesome job of setting the scenery and the world of Super Mario Baseball. Obviously, we can all assume that the game takes place in the Mushroom Kingdom, but we've never seen any baseball stadiums there before. They could have made this game setting anywhere, even put it on an alien world of creatures that just really love baseball, that bring Mario and friends here and make them compete in a tournament. But they didn't. They made the fields feel grounded and like each character's home, and like their own area or themed world, with the surrounding supporting characters in the stand to match. They nailed the vibe of each character's field, with Mario Stadium being an easygoing, chill, relaxing. You can always count on it for a good fair time, Peach's Garden being a bit more sophisticated and elegant. Wario's field being a desert oasis, a little desert hideaway. Makes a lot of sense for his character. Being in his standalone Wario games, he is known as a treasure hunter. And then Yoshi's Park fits the character as well, with it being Yoshi's Island theme, including the piranha plants as an element to it. As well as a lot of the features in Yoshi's Field are made out of cardboard, very reminiscent of Yoshi's Story. As well as DK's Park, incorporating the jungle beats, making you really feel like you're in DK's part of the world. So there are 4 different types of characters, 4 archetypes that they fit into. There's Speed for the fast characters, which an example of this would be Yoshi, Diddy Kong, Dixie Kong, Monty Mole. Then there are technical characters, and these are usually good at pitching. So these characters, Waluigi, Peach, I believe Toadsworth, are all really good pitchers. I want to say maybe Boo as well. And then there are balanced characters, all-around characters. That's where Mario and Luigi fall under. A good basic ability at everything, but not great. A jack of all trades, but a master of none, essentially. And there are power characters who are going to be strong at batting. You know, like Bowser, Donkey Kong, I believe Petey Piranha, Wario, King Boo. And these different types of characters, these archetypes, they give you a nice variety of characters with different strengths and weaknesses. So you don't just pick your favorite characters every time or who you like. I mean, you can. That's what most people are going to do anyway. But it gives you a reason not to, an incentive. No characters have the same stats, even in the same category, so balanced characters are different still, and unique to each other. Everyone's stats are completely unique, including the different colored variants of the same character. So yeah, a blue Toad is going to be better than a red Toad at some things. They're going to have different stats, which is really cool. So then you can pick the colored Toads to which you need, or your colored variants to what you need out there. Allowing you to make fun and unique combinations with characters at different positions to find out what works best for you. Maybe you want to have a full power team and just commit to hitting home runs and outscoring your opponent. Or maybe you want to go all speed and show it's more important than batting. The choice is yours. Now, I personally like to have a nice balance of each category. Technique for my pitcher, some speed in the field for base running and fielding, and power characters hit away on the bases in the infield, so I have some batting when the time comes. With the roster decisions to make, you have to take into consideration the team chemistry. So team chemistry is a very cool feature that Namco decided to add to this game. It added some depth to the team building aspect of the game, meaning you have a reason, an incentive to not just stack your team with the best players stat-wise, as players are willing and able to play better with other characters that they have chemistry with. Chemistry just being how well people get along with each other. Characters with good chemistry are able to throw the ball faster and hit better as well. Good chemistry can even stack for the batter if they have chemistry with multiple teammates on base. So if you're batting and you have one person on first base that has chemistry, you're going to get a boost. But if you have someone on first, second, and third that has chemistry with your batter, you're going to get a boost for each of those, and they stack up. Good chemistry is represented by a musical note. It is also shown by the ball traveling faster than normal, glowing purple and leaving a purple trail in its path. The character who throws the ball will also make a happy sound while throwing, to represent the good chemistry. Not only is there good chemistry though, but there is also bad chemistry, giving a negative effect to characters that have bad chemistry with each other. The ball will travel significantly slower and in a slanted direction from where the ball was directed. The character who throws the ball will also make an unhappy noise. Bad chemistry is referenced by a black squiggly line that looks like a tornado. Bad chemistry has no effect on batting, as it only applies to fielding. Bad chemistry will almost always result in an error, or messed up play. I feel that team chemistry was a great step in separating Mario Superstar Baseball from other arcade baseball games at the time. Gameplay-wise, along with all the other Mario personification, arena hazards, and special star powers that sets it apart. Batting in this game consists of pressing the A button for a contact swing, or hold the A button to charge up for a stronger power swing. You can press B to bunt, where you just need to hold down B when you're ready to bunt. You are free to move around in the batter box as you see fit to get the best upper hand you can on the pitcher. The timing of when you hit and connect with the pitch will affect the aim of your hit. If you hit a pitch late or early, it will pull in that direction, usually leading to a foul. The deepest feature in the batting system is probably the fact that each character has their own hitting range, or their batting / hitting overlay. It just looks like a bat overlay that you can see if you turn on easy batting. If you turn on easy batting, you can see the bat outline for each character. Some are smaller than others, like Donkey Kong's boxing glove, and Bowser actually has a bigger bat and hitting range, making it easier for him and harder for, say, Donkey Kong. For base running, you press Y to move your base runners forward, and X to move them backwards. You can stop a base runner and move others, but it's a bit finicky in my opinion, as I've lost many base runners by making an accidental mistake sending people too far, or when I thought they've stopped, or vice versa. So I tend to play it a bit safe when it comes to base running in this game. You can obviously do it however you'd like. You can steal bases by sending your runners when you're at bat, by pressing the Y button before the pitch has been thrown. You can actually get a perfect steal timing if you time the steal just right as the pitch is getting wound up to throw. When base running, make sure to match the A, B, X, or Y button for faster running. Be a bit careful though, because X and Y are used to advance and retreat base runners, so that will mess you up a bit if you try to tap those. There's also a small chance of getting a body check, which only happens in a really tight window of being thrown out in a close tag play, where the runner will body check the catcher out of the way if they succeed based on the difference in weight between the runner and the fielder. Now, not everybody has the body check ability. There's only a few characters. And then they only have a chance to do it based on weight. I think my favorite one is Toad. I love that Toad has the ability to body check people. That's all there is to batting and base running until we get into star abilities. Pitching in this game consists of throwing charged up fastballs by holding down the A button, and by throwing changeups by pressing A as well as down on the joystick. You do have control to move any of your pitches around the strike box once you've thrown the ball simply by moving the joystick around. This allows you to throw a pitch on one side of the strike box, on the inside of the batter, and have it come all the way outside to the box on the other side. You can also throw off the mound if you think your opponent is trying to steal. There's really not too much depth with only the 2 types of pitches available, without getting into star abilities. You have control to move any of your pitches around the strike box once you've thrown them by using the joystick. This allows you to throw a pitch on one side of the strike box and have it come across towards the other by the end of it. You can kind of throw your own sliders, if you will, but they're really just a fastball that you're moving across and aiming the direction of. Fielding in this game consists of running to catch pop flies and fielding balls by moving around the joystick to control your characters. You can also jump to catch the hard-to-reach balls. Besides that, all fielding is playing the balls and then throwing out runners at base. You throw the ball by pressing A and holding the joystick in the direction of the base you want to throw to. You can also cut off the throw to save time and throw the ball faster by, say, another fielder halfway between the base and your outfielder. So if you throw it from center field and the ball's dying, not making it home, your second baseman or shortstop can cut it off and then pick up the ball and throw it faster at home in hopes that it'll get there faster. A star skill is a special hit or pitch that can be used by any player and is unique among the captains in the Mario Baseball series. Star skills require a limited meter of team stars. At least 1 team star is used whenever the player uses the star skill. Team stars are gained when the players either hit the field features or when there's a star chance appears. When a star chance appears, you either have to get a hit on offense or get the batter out on defense. Players start with a more filled meter if there are more players on their team that have good chemistry with each other. The meter can hold up to 5 team stars, so if your team has bad chemistry, you're starting yourself with a less filled star meter. Less ability to do special star skills. Putting yourself at a disadvantage if you have bad chemistry. But you can build that star meter up. You can gain it in-game. A team's main captain and minor players use 1 team star while other captains on the team use 2. Though only 1 team star is consumed if a secondary captain gets a strike while attempting to hit with a star skill. So if I'm Donkey Kong's my captain and I use Diddy Kong to bat, and I get a strike while attempting to hit with a star skill, instead of using 2 stars, it's only going to consume 1. It is convenient. Batting star skills all make better contact with the ball than normal hits, helping avoid strikeouts. So even just swinging with a star skill improves your chance of getting a hit. Let me just list the different types of star skills we got in the game. So Mario gets a fireball, Luigi gets a green fireball. Peach has the heart ball, and Daisy gets the flower ball. Yoshi has the egg ball, and Birdo gets the weird ball. Donkey Kong gets the banana ball, and Diddy Kong gets the boomerang ball. Wario gets the phony ball, and Waluigi gets the liar ball. Bowser gets the killer ball, while Bowser Jr. gets the killer junior ball. Fitting. So there are some interesting things about this too. So when minor, non-captain players, say like a Goomba or a Toad, use a batting star skill, the ball will fly in 1 of 3 predictable ways depending on the batting character, at a considerably higher velocity than ordinary hits of the same type. A ground ball, a fly ball, or a line drive. So a ground ball, the star skill hits the ball as a grounder at a low angle into the infield. Fly ball, this star skill is a high-angled and fast fly ball hit into the outfield. Line drive, this star skill, the rarest of the 3 batting star skills, hits the ball in a straight line towards the outfield. If any minor player uses a star skill to hit the ball with a charged swing, the ball will be hit as a relatively slow fly ball to the outfield, where it can be very likely be caught out. Captain star skills are the same regardless of whether the swing is charged. However, in Mario Superstar Baseballs only, if a star skill is used with a charged swing, the player has 5 team stars and the batter makes perfect contact, the hit will become a guaranteed home run with extreme distance and power. However, this uses the player's entire stock of team stars and may be a foul ball. Minor players also have 1 of 3 types of pitching star skills each. They get a fast up. The star skill throws the ball very high velocity. Minor players also have one of 3 types of pitching star skills each: fastball, changeup, or breaking ball. The fastball throws the ball with very high velocity, similar to an ordinary fastball, but with greater speed and movement and no need to charge the pitch. The changeup acts very much as a powered-up changeup. It first moves quickly, then slows down considerably, and does not need to be charged. The breaking ball, this star skill is a slow, floating pitch that can be easily curved. All pitching star skills are unchanged regardless of whether the pitcher is charged. Alright, let's talk about the fields again. Well, let's talk about the gameplay effect it has. So each field has its own theme, obviously, fence dimensions, and gimmicks. So I think that's really interesting that each one has their own fence dimensions. Meaning that hitting a home run in one stadium is going to be completely different than hitting a home run in another. So let's start off with Mario Stadium, the easiest field, no hazards or gimmicks, for beginners or players who want to play a regular game. So the dimensions, the outfield wall consists of straight sections joined together. The center field wall is 100 meters or 328 feet from home plate, and is slightly offset to the right. The foul poles are about 80.5 meters, 264 feet away from home. And in right field, the wall is completely straight from the foul pole to the center field fence, while left field is split into 2 wall sections, making it jut out further than in right field. Therefore, it is easier to hit home runs to the right field. So for Peach's Garden, you have question blocks for the ball to hit. There are hedges along the path that obscure the character and the ball but don't have any physical properties. There's also a fountain in center field. So the dimensions of Peach Garden, the field is roughly a heart shape, the castle responsible for the concave in center field. Besides the castle, the outfield walls are constant 8 meters tall. The castle itself is 18 meters tall on the sides, before raising to 23 meters in the middle after small sections that are 21 meters tall. The center field wall is 87 meters from home, and the foul poles are about 83.5 meters away. So in one of the gimmicks here is partially to do with the fountain. So if Mario or Luigi's batted fireball touches the fountain water, it will turn back into a normal ball. The other gimmicks are the various blocks floating above the field that can be hit by batted balls. Balls caught after hitting a block still count as an out. Blocks come in 4 types: metal, invisible, brick, and note blocks. So let's explain what they each do. The metal block, the ball will bounce off metal blocks with a thud. There are 4 total, 2 in deep left, right center, and 2 in foul territory just behind first base and third base. The invisible blocks are the same as metal blocks, except that they initially can't be seen other than their outlines on their corners until they are hit by a ball, at which time it will become visible for the rest of the game. There are 6 of them above the field, 3 on each side of the field, with 2 in the shallow outfield and 1 each that are deeper. And here are the brick ones. The 2 brick blocks are in foul territory and break after the first time they are hit. They have high potential for turning foul balls into fair balls. There are 4 note blocks, 2 on each side of the field parallel to the foul lines. If a ball hits them, they have a large bounce off to their faces. They are lined up in a straight line from home plate and are in the exact position for fly balls to hit one or both of them, turning pop-ups into home runs, which is useful since the outfield walls are the deepest and tallest in the game. Let's talk about Wario's Palace. So his gimmicks are the tornadoes and the chain chomps. Let's talk about the dimensions first though, of course. The wall heights are uniform at 5 meters tall. The shape is roughly circular, but is slightly irregular, especially around center field. The foul poles are about 73 meters away from home, while the center field wall is also 73 meters away. So here we go, their gimmicks. There are 3 star-shaped sand sculptures spread over the outfield. If the ball hits these, the batter will receive a star. In the corners, in foul territory, there are 2 chain chomps. The ball can bounce off them and is still live. Sometimes they are asleep and won't do anything. If they get hit with the ball, they will wake up. Awoken chain chomps will charge any fielders that get near them. If they get hit, the fielders will get stunned temporarily and drop the baseball. Just behind first base and third base, there are floating bird objects. If a pop fly is hit near their sculptures, can't be too high, tornado is created that will suck up the ball and launch it in another direction. The direction seemingly isn't random, since it consistently throws the ball into the chain chomps who then knock the ball into fair territory. The ground being sand slows the ball down when it's rolling. And when you're batting, there's a heat refraction effect put in the field of view, giving the impression that the field is in a warm climate. And I love that. I love that effect. Alright, Yoshi's Park. The dimensions, the outfield wall is in a shallow arc shape, which is with a uniform height of 3.2 meters, which is the smallest in the game. The foul poles are about 82 meters from home plate, while center field is 93 meters away. And the gimmicks are spread throughout the outfield are piranha plants. They start off small until balls are hit near them, at which point they grow to their full size. When they are activated, they can knock out fielders that come near them. If a fly ball is hit at them, they will eat the ball and spit it out at another angle. 2 of the plants are in left and right center field, right by the fence. If the ball gets eaten by them, there is a chance for the ball to be thrown over the fence for a home run. 2 more are in the shallow outfield. The last 2 plants are on each foul line in the outfield. These plants can make foul balls fair and vice versa. The plants sometimes are colored gold. If a golden plant eats a ball, the batter will receive a star. Then we got Donkey Kong's Jungle. So for his dimensions of the field, the foul pole is about 72 meters from home, and straightaway center is 97 meters away. The outfield wall height is wavy, matching the irregularly muddy and uneven aesthetic of the fence. The height of these sections range from 3.5 meters to 4 meters, and in left field at the start of the river, there's a taller wooden fence at a height of 6.9 meters. Now the gimmicks in Donkey Kong's stadium are the barrels. Over the fence in the outfield are 2 barrel cannons. These activate when a ball is in the outfield, but both launchers won't go off in the same play. They target the player and launch a barrel that rolls across the outfield, eventually breaking against the wall. The trajectories will always be through the outfield, so the barrels will never roll into the infield. Characters will get knocked down and stunned if they get hit by a barrel, and lose the ball if they have possession. The barrels also interact with batted balls. Balls can bounce off the top of the barrels or be slowed down if a barrel rolls over them. Balls bouncing off the top of the barrels are still treated as fly balls, so they can be caught for an out or go over the fence as a home run. And the other gimmick is claptraps. 3 claptraps patrol the river. They will chase any player who enters the river and latch onto their feet for the duration of the inning if they catch them. It appears that each claptrap has a certain limit or they will stop chasing players. Through some testing, it appears that claptraps don't slow down players. And it appears to be a common consensus that the claptraps don't actually slow down the players, according to some's testing. If a batted ball hits one of the claptraps, the batter will receive a star. A ball can hit a claptrap either rolling on the ground or directly from the air. If the ball has not previously touched the ground and hits a claptrap, the ball can pop into the air and still be caught for an out. And the last field, Bowser's Castle. So the dimensions for this one, the foul poles are about 75.5 meters from home, and center field is 88.5 meters away. There are many different wall heights in the stadium. The foul lines themselves are 16.8 meters tall, before dropping down to 12 meters. Then, there's a cutout where thwomps fall and act as an extension of the wall. These platforms are 5 meters. Then the wall returns to 12 meters for center field. The pillars on the center field wall are aesthetic and don't add to the wall height. Or at least climber characters can't climb on them. The dimensions repeat on the other side since the field is symmetrical. Alright, the gimmick for Bowser Stadium. Star spaces. There are several star spaces throughout the field. 4 in the outfield, 2 in foul territory, and 2 on the center field fence. If a batted ball hits these spaces, the batter will receive a star. Then the other gimmick are fireballs. Each lava pit shoots out fireballs that can burn players. If a player gets hit, they will be stunned and lose the ball. The pits in foul territory also have fireballs, but they land back in the pit so they aren't a hazard to players. The fireballs won't stop firing during the play, unlike some other gimmicks. The pits in right field and left field have a fireball that originates in the same spot and lands in 3 different locations in a cycle. Towards home, then towards roughly second base, then towards center field. The pits in center field has 2 fireballs. They originate from the left and right of the pit. Their landing spots follow the same snake-style cycle. Towards the foul line, then towards first and third base, then towards second base-ish, then back. So the thumps are mainly used just to block the wall, or to block the ball, part of the wall. Just another challenge to avoid. Alright, let's talk about the game modes. For exhibition mode, it's just the basic play now or quick play mode that you'd expect in pretty much any sports game. It's just a single game of baseball. Players will choose their team captain and a roster of players and play one game. Players can choose which team bats first. You can also choose how many innings, in turn how long the game will last. And then you also get to pick their choice out of the 6 unique stadiums. Of course, Bowser's Castle has to be unlocked after beating challenge mode, so you only get 5 to start if you click on exhibition mode. Yeah, it's a good mode. It's fun. It's the main base of the game. You get to play baseball. And it does it well. Serves its purpose. Alright, let's talk about the mini-games. So there are 6 mini-games in total, including Home Run Derby in Mario Stadium, where you practice your batting by having bomb-bombs pitched at you, and when you hit them, they'll explode into fireworks into the night sky. You can even get King Bomb thrown at you for a very big fireworks show. I think this minigame is very fun. So you get Wall Ball in Peach's Garden, where you get to practice your pitching, having to charge up your pitch to break through the brick walls and stop perfectly after the glass wall and before the Bowser wall. You work on the release. You practice the release to control and have better control of where you start and stop your pitch. It's actually a really fun one in my opinion. I enjoy playing it. Chain Chomp Sprint in Wario's Palace, you practice your base running and stopping ability by running around the bases collecting gems, while a sleeping Chain Chomp is on the pitching mound ready to wake up and chase you at any second. As soon as it has its little drool bubble as it's sleeping, as soon as the drool bubble, it'll get bigger, and when it pops, you have to stop. If you don't stop moving, it'll target you and chase you down. And then I think you lose a little bit of coins, and you definitely lose time. Precious time to collect more coins. Piranha Panic in Yoshi's Island is another pitching minigame where you have to throw colored eggs at the corresponding colored piranha plants. If you throw the wrong colored egg at a differently colored piranha plant, it'll shoot a fireball at you, where it damages you and you lose precious time you could be using to collect more coins and win the minigame. You also get bombs to throw at your opponents to stun them, or at the piranha plant to make them change color. There's Barrel Batter in DK Stadium, where you practice your batting again, having to try and aim your hits towards a group of the same colored barrels to make them explode, similar to a puzzle game. And there's one special barrel that will appear and it's flashing, and you hit it and it'll cause a big explosion. Then there's Star Dash, the last one, it's an unlockable minigame in Bowser's Castle. So the only unlockable minigame is you have to beat all the minigames at least once in challenge mode to get it. You compete to collect coins that are flying out of a pot on the pitcher's mound, while avoiding the thumps that are dropping down on top of the playing area. As well as coins, you can also collect stars and red mushroom and a poison mushroom that all come out of the pot in the middle. If you collect the stars, it seems to make you invincible and move a lot faster. Hence the name Star Dash. I assume you want to collect stars so you can dash around. And there's also a red mushroom that will make you go faster, but it seems a bit slower than the star. And then there's the poison mushroom, the purple poison mushroom, that will make you go slower, which you want to avoid at all costs. Personally, I believe Wall Ball and Home Run Derby are both great minigames. I think Piranha Panic is good, could be fun with friends. I think Chain Chomp is fine, and I personally don't care for Barrel Batter. All in all, for the 6 minigames, they did well. And I think as far as Star Dash goes, I think it's pretty similar to Piranha Panic. Maybe a little better, so yeah, we'll put it in the good. I think Piranha Panic and Star Dash are both good, and could be fun with friends. Oh wait, that's not Piranha Panic, that's Chain Chomp. Yeah, I think it's a little bit better than Chain Chomp though. I think Piranha Panic and Star Dash can both be good. At least you got free movement compared to Chain Chomp where they're stuck in the base running. I don't know. Seems a bit more fun that way. Toy Field. The Toy Field is awesome. I think it's really cool. Toy Field is almost its own minigame, and it wouldn't surprise me if it started off that way. To me, it seems like Toy Field started as a minigame, but they probably realized how fun it was, and that they had a good idea in it. And at some point they realized it should be its own standalone game mode, instead of being with the mini games and comparing them to each other, when this one seemed to have a bit more polish and just more to it than the other mini games. It has turn-based batting, and one character will bat and try to have the ball land on one of the spaces occupying the in and outfield. They have spaces out there that have points assigned to them. They have values. These spaces will give the batter a value like a single or a double, depending on which one the ball lands on, to indicate what base they are on. The batter gets the bat again because they're not caught out by the outfielder. So anytime you play a ball into the field, if you don't get caught out, then you just get whatever you land on. I believe there's also outs though, so you can land on an out, kicked off home plate. You won't get a bat anymore. So say you get a double on your first bat, you're now your second base is occupied. It'll show on your infield, your base marker, and you're back on bat. So then if you hit another double, your person on it's you on second. There's no actual person on second. It's just like you're on second. So you're on second, then you hit another double that would bring you home, so you get 1 point, and then you're up 1-0 until you get kicked off the batting spot. Toy field works in turns, so it's only a matter of turns, and then the game's over, and whoever has the most points wins. The heart of Mario Superstar Baseball is the challenge mode. It is a single-player mode where the player selects a pre-built team and must defeat all the other teams. At first, Bowser's team is the last team to beat for the cup and must be unlocked before the player can use them. There are 6 teams, each led by one of the captains: Mario, Peach, Yoshi, Donkey Kong, Wario, and Bowser. They all feature a secondary captain, those being Luigi, Daisy, Birdo, Diddy Kong, Waluigi, and Bowser Jr. And the rest of the team is filled with a mix of sub-characters. Players challenge the other teams. Beating the other 4 opens the path to Bowser's castle. The secondary purpose of defeating other teams is to recruit other characters to improve one's team. On opposing teams, each character has a set of scouting flags. During the game, players will have mission objectives like strike them out or score a run that earns flags. If one gets all the flags of a particular character and wins the game, that character will be recruited. If the player fails to complete a mission, they must wait for a while to complete another mission. Flags are cumulative, so if the player doesn't get all the flags in a game or loses the game after getting all the flags earned will remain when the team is challenged again. A team can be challenged as long as the captain of the team is not recruited. Players of a different color can't be recruited and only be played in minigames and playing with the teams they start on. If the team captain is recruited, his or her team will disband. Any characters from that team that were not recruited will join a team led by Bowser Jr. Another way to recruit characters is by a mercy win. If either team is leading by at least 10 runs at the end of an inning, the game is called out of mercy to the losing team. If the player wins a game in this fashion, all characters on the opposing team will be so impressed that they all immediately join. After every game or minigame, Bowser Jr. will wander around the map. If the player runs into him, they will be forced to play a game in the bottom of the 9th inning, if the player randomly chosen is a visitor or home. If the player's team is in the visiting team, then they will have the lead and must stop Bowser Jr. from mounting a comeback. Otherwise, it is the player's job to mount a comeback. Beating Bowser Jr. earns the player 100 coins to use in the shop, while losing costs the player half of their coins. In the event of having an odd coin count when losing to Bowser Jr., the coins will be rounded up. Bowser Jr.'s team also has players from disbanded teams that the player can recruit. There is a shop located on the map for purchasing power-ups, each worth a certain number of coins that the player earns from the minigame or Bowser Jr. In order for a captain to use their special abilities, they must be purchased from the shop. These power-ups are permanent and can be carried over into other challenge mode games by continuing from a previously cleared game. Other power-ups offer a temporary boost to a stat for all characters on their team. They only last one game, win or lose, and a toad runs the shop. Another goal during challenge mode is the Superstar Quest. Each character has a set of requirements that earn stars. If a character meets all of his or her requirements, then the character upgrades to a superstar. It gets a boost in all their abilities. Also, once a character becomes a superstar, the superstar version of the character can be used in other game modes. The game rules that cannot be changed are as follows. Your team bats first, and the star skills and mercy are turned on. There are 4 difficulty settings for challenge mode that are similar to those in Mario Kart Double Dash. Easy, Mushroom, medium is flower, then hard is star, and special is very hard. Those are the difficulty levels. On mushroom, flower, and star difficulty setting, 4 other teams are challenged for 3 innings. After each team has been beaten at least once, Bowser is played for 5 innings. On special difficulty settings, the innings change so that each team is played with 2 additional innings from before. Once the player clears special difficulty, then Bowser is selectable as a team captain. When using him as a team captain, the rules slightly change. The other teams invade Bowser's castle, and Bowser must beat them in a game of baseball to win his castle back. Bowser has to beat the initial 5 teams, then they come together to form a team of captains led by Mario that Bowser must defeat. Bowser can still recruit other characters, except the captains and sub-captains. And because Bowser Jr. is on his team, he does not wander the map to challenge the player, so he must play minigames to earn coins. The challenge mode has 4 difficulty levels that you can play through, that are progressively more difficult if you're looking for a challenge after completing it the first time. Talk about the reception. The game was met with a positive reception, as Metacritic currently has it sitting at a 76 out of 100. Back in the day, we have a couple reviews here, or a couple quotes here that we'll read. Here's this guy, Robert Workman of Game Daily, praised the game, writing, "I found Mario Superstar Baseball to grow on me." IGN praised the game, while noting its inconsistent production values, saying the game is fun, but far from perfect. Which in my opinion, a game being fun is the best thing it can be. GameSpot awarded the game an 8 out of 10, stating similar points I have made, praising the game for being easy to pick up and play and having lots of characters, as well as pointing out bad AI base running and not many different fields being 2 of their biggest issues with the game. Eurogamer and Edge both gave the game a 6 out of 10 score, and most of the other reviews seem to be between the 7 to 9 out of 10 range, meaning the game seems to have been positively received when it came out, and still is to this day. Alright, time for the nasty review. As you can probably tell from making it this far into the video, I loved and still do love this game. It holds a very special place in my heart. It is by far my favorite baseball video game of all time, and easily the one I've had the most fun with. Just for a little insight on me, I played baseball growing up and enjoyed it quite a bit, but I'm far from a big baseball fan. I will watch it occasionally, but personally I am more of a football and basketball fan. So if anything, I was not an easy sell on this game, as I had very little interest in baseball video games back in the day. But the game completely won me over and made me even more interested in baseball as a young child. Let me go into my likes, and then I'll go into my dislikes. So as I've said this a lot, I'm sure you can pick out my likes: personality and charm of the characters and world. I just think, yeah, that's Mario to a T, Mario Nintendo. The unique stadiums I like, the super abilities I like, the arcadey and simplified baseball gameplay I like, team chemistry I like, challenge mode, and the recruiting system. I think it's really cool. Multiple team names for each team captain, I think that's awesome too. All the characters that are included, even the not super popular ones making it to fill the teams, to me that just felt really cool. The minigames, specifically wall ball and home run derby, I think that adds another element of fun, more games to play. And on top of that, adding another element, Toy Field, another game mode, which I think was a really good addition. Now to get to my dislikes. A little nitpicky here, I had to find something to dislike about the game, but not starting challenge mode with at least your captain's power-up ability. I think you should at least start with your captain's power-up so you can understand how it works. But not a big deal, you get it quick and easy if you want to. You can also just do the mini games and buy it before you start the challenge mode, I'd imagine. That's probably a really good way of doing it. Not every character getting a proper super ability. Again, just nitpicking. I know when you're making a game, it's time. It's a time crunch, you can't do everything. But in a perfect world, I think that would have been really cool if everyone had their own special abilities. Every character, like the non-important, backup characters too. Filler guys. Because somebody loves them. I'm sure some people would love to have Shy Guy as their captain, or Goomba, or, you know, any of those guys would be really cool. Imagine having Boo as your captain. Some Boo-themed teams. And having, it's cool. Could be really cool. I dislike that there's not more unique stadiums. It's just personally, I'm just imagining a Waluigi stadium, or even a Birdo, a Toadette stadium, King Boo. How cool these could possibly be. I do give them props for the Luigi's Mansion and Daisy Cruiser fields in the sequel Super Sluggers. I'm not going to talk too much about that now, but, you know, new stadiums are awesome. Luigi's Mansion is obviously a great call, Daisy Cruiser, both awesome themes. One of my other dislikes is the strike box isn't always completely accurate. I don't really care too much, honestly. Should it be a dislike? So the strike box isn't always completely accurate. That's fine with me because, I mean, in real baseball, umpires get the calls wrong all the time. It's just kind of human error. So it makes sense in a baseball game. It fits. It's proper. Sometimes you're going to get screwed over by a call. And hey, that's life. Oh, and my last complaint is you can only pitch either a fastball or a changeup or your special pitch. It feels like that could have been a bit deeper, but again, it's supposed to be an entry-level baseball game, mainly an arcadey feel, so I get it. You can move the pitch around and emulate, say, a curveball or slider, but more pitches could have been nice and, you know, added more depth for higher-level gameplay. Alright, now my rating out of 10. I rate this game a 9 out of 10, which in my books is a damn near perfect game. And really the only thing I would have liked more, is more to it. More backup characters, more captains, more fields, more specials. I just want more of the game. 9 out of 10, and I think it deserves it. Alright, let's conclude this. Why it hasn't came back yet. Individually, including the newer Switch games as well, the Mario Golf series has sold 8.58 million copies worldwide. The Mario Tennis series has sold 13.32 million copies worldwide. And the Mario Striker series has sold over 6 million copies worldwide. And the Mario Baseball series has sold 3.37 million copies worldwide. So when we look at that, it kind of shows us that Mario Baseball hasn't sold as many copies as the other series, but that's not really a fair comparison, as Mario Baseball has 2 games in its series, while Golf has 8. Yeah, so it has a lot of releases, and then even Tennis has more releases. So yeah, Mario's Baseball is the worst selling of the Mario sports games, from my understanding. But I don't think that's fair, as it has only had 2 games. If it had 8 games to compare to Golf's 8 games, then I think it would be a fair comparison. But whatever. Irrelevant. Just my opinion. Anyways, I think Mario Baseball deserves a 3rd game. The 2nd game, Super Sluggers, outperformed the 1st, as it was a great and natural fit for the use of the Wii controller for batting, pitching, and throwing. I think Mario Baseball deserves another chance. I think it deserves another chance to put a game out on the Switch to see if the people still want it, see if there's still a market for it. And if it fails, and then give up on it, Nintendo. But give it a chance to fail or succeed. A new Mario Baseball game sounds refreshing, and like a home run to me. I'd buy it. People still play this game to this day. There's a dedicated community of a competitive scene. And even a really cool and dedicated mod called Project Rio, which seems to have started back in November of 2020. Project Rio is a modified emulator and a database which serves 2 major purposes: automatically track and collect stats from in-game, and optimize the experience of Mario Superstar Baseball, both online and offline. It also currently supports optimized online gameplay for Mario Golf Toadstool Tour, with stat tracking and database support coming in the future. Project Rio as a concept encompasses the entirety of the Mario Superstar Baseball modding project, which began work in November of 2020. Just think of all the cool new Mario characters that could be added to the roster for a new Mario Baseball game, and all the new team combinations you can make with them. I do love the additions of Donkey Kong characters in Super Sluggers, along with the Wiggler and Blooper being added. And now let me just name a few more to think about as possibilities. Like what if they added Rosalina, Pauline, the Koopalings, and all the other creatures from Mario Kart World or Mario Wonder, and all the many Mario games, and all the games Mario has put out, or even Donkey Kong games, or the Yoshi games, or the Wario games, or even the Princess Peach game, now that she has one. I believe they have the recipe for success. I don't think any big changes need to be made to bring this game back. We just need more of this. More characters, more stadium, more Mario Baseball. Bring this game back. Thank you for watching my video. Now I want to know what you think. Have you played Mario Superstar Baseball? And would you like to see the series make a comeback? Let me know in the comments. Please drop a like if you enjoyed this video and subscribe for more content. As always, stay nasty.